excuse me. Make sure we good on the. Guess you got notification. So, all right. So first and foremost, I'm gonna start off by saying Rockathon, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the hopeful elect, starting on the 144,000. Shalom. All right, so Shalom, man. You know, Lord willing, to the sister brothers, sister brothers, and few sisters and children. Then 144,000 those elect, right? Peace and salutations, right? Continue to strive, continue to do the works, Lord willing, as we discern the times and discern the moments, we're getting closer and closer, into that great salvation of Yahweh Shem Shah. And and lately, I mentioned it a few times, but I play college football, right? And a lot of times, we have a lot of like meetings or whatnot, but Lord willing, we find time to, I find time to get lessons done. That's why I started, slacking these notifications. They keep popping up, distracting, but find time to, that's why I started doing these live lessons, live sit downs as well. Like I got my other page, whatnot as well. Now I'm in Kiyah, right? I post lessons as well, screen record lessons, but more and more trying to get into the live lessons because it keeps me on that watch tower to keep me going. As I talk to the brothers about it, and and I say, as I find times we having these meetings and all these things going on with class and whatnot, stay in that word, stay in that spirit, keep that fight going, just try to go read on your own. One of the books one of the books I've been reading lately is Hebrews. Right now, as I was reading Hebrews chapter 1 verse 2, I want to watch the breakdown from Elder Apostle Rumlod. Well, it was a while ago, right? If you type in GMS Vault, they have a lot of old breakdowns for Elder Apostle Hart, Apostle Gabar, Elder Apostle Rumlod, other elder, sincere elders, elder apostles and whatnot. That's in the GMS, the 100% truth, right? Through Spirit, probably how about Shah, right? So it's like as I went and watched Hebrew, as I went and watched the video, right? I kind of went into Hebrews 1 already. Yeah, I think I did a lesson on Hebrews 1. It's like I did a lesson on Hebrews 2, right? How it talks about Hebrews 2 and 5, kind of how to it says, for unto the angels hath he not put in subjection to the words to come whereof we speak, right? Because we know that the world was put into subjection to Yahweh Shah, right? And no man can get into the Father but through him, right? But today, even in the spirit, as I was watching Elder Apostle Rumlod lesson yesterday, and I finished it earlier today before I came on this live lesson, right? Elder Apostle Rumlod, he was going into, about how, Oppenheimer, I forgot his first name, but on Oppenheimer's, right? When he created that bomb, he was like, I become the, let me go to it real fast. I became the destroyer. It was titled, Now I have become death, the destroyer of the world, and how he created those missiles and those atomic bombs or whatnot, right? And going to Isaiah 15, 16. But, it was all the spirit because, the spirit was already on me to go into Hebrews 2 and verse 1 through 3, right? And understanding that it's the destruction coming, right? For the other nations, also for the 2/3 as well, right? For those 2/3, and that's why the scriptures tell you, it's better for you it's better for you to be sincere to a vow to the Most High, but it's better for you not even to make a vow to the Most High if you're gonna be sincere on it. Right? Because there's going to be a destruction. There's going to be a judgment. Nobody's going to skip over what Yahweh Shah, or nobody's going to skip over prophecy. Nobody's going to get through prophecy. It's not going to bypass nobody. Everything's ordained. Everybody's going to face the work. Everybody's going to face the judgment from the works that they have done. right? I got two quick pieces that come to my bear with me. This is Revelation 22 and 12, right? And this is how Shah talking, right? It says, and behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, right? Because you know, for the elect, it's going to be salvation, right? And for the 2/3, it's going to be judgment. Well, that's what he said, right? He said to give every man according to his works, according as his work shall be, right? And I remember I watched the Prophet one day. He had mentioned he was talking about Esau. You don't think they gonna slip judgment? They good. They ain't gonna get punished for the things they done. So Christianity run around, think they're gonna be happy in the holly jolly heaven and whatnot. You know, and he was like, you know, Esau, if you want to know what your judgment gonna be, look at everything you done, right? Because I'm gonna leave it to my next precept, Galatians. You're right. Galatians 6 and verse 7, right? It says, be not deceived, Yahweh is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to his flesh, shall the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit, shall the Spirit reap life everlasting. In that Spirit, the Spirit of Yahweh, right? Because you got to know, the Most High has a left-hand spirit and the right-hand spirit. And you only understand it. And Elder Pastor Romla lesson, as I was talking about, that I was watching for, right? And we're going into how, you know, the creation of these bombs, how these things are set. When you understand, that's all prophecy that the Most High set allowed it to happen. Isaiah 15:16, right? The modern day blasters are those scientists, right? The Most High's, the left hand spirits are working through them to Most High's allowing them to create those bombs, right? To create those bombs, to create those things, because eventually it's gonna fall into the prophecy. It's gonna play out in the movie how the Most High said it to be. So it's all part of the plan. Whom is it his will, you know? And Most High have those left hand spirits and the right hand spirits, and they all work to work out the plan of Yahweh Shah. But luckily, those elect, we have the good side of the movie, right? Yeah, we seem like the bad guys, and everybody chasing after us. Everybody seems to make like we shoot through something bad. You know how the movies go, right? The good guy always look bad until the end, until they figure out the truth. Well, that's how we looking right now. Well, and in the end, the Most High is going to expose. The Most High is going to expose them. Well, right now, Esau's been exposed. Right now, Esau's been made bare, right? And we understand it, right? As they being made bare. And I was thinking about this lesson. Let me think about Jeremiah 49, right? When it says, "Is wisdom no more in teaming?" Right? You know, is wisdom no more in teaming? Right? Who's a teaming? Teaming are those Germans, right? Teaming are the Germans, right? And you know, Germans is the smartest of Esau, right? And Jeremiah 49:7, right? It says, concerning Edom, this says the Lord of Yahweh. This says the Lord Yahweh of hosts. Is wisdom no more in teaming? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is that wisdom vanished? Right? Because the Germans are the smartest of Esau, right? And as they're being exposed, all their ways, all their gimmicks and games is being brought out. All their gimmicks and games being brought out. So they, you know, of course they've been able to see the 2/3, to see the ones who are, you know, who are not in the know. But the ones who are in the know, they're not being deceived, they're not being tricked, right? They being tricked, basically, they ain't being tricked by the miracles and things that Esau doing. Right? That's notes right. I want to read real fast. It said they ain't gonna have no way to get. They ain't have no way to get away. Right? You know, I'm gonna read Amos 5. I'm going to Amos 5 after this, but it says, you know, they always gonna be in a situation. America's going down. It's cursed. Right? So I want to jump down to verse 10. Well, I'll read that. It says, "Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep. Or happens to Dan. The Dan is a city in Edom, right? I will bring the calamity of Esau upon you. The time will visit him, because the Most High is going to bring destruction upon him." And we know that Esau is the rulership of the world right now. They started off through the Greeks, right? Alexander the Great, Alexander the Greek, Alexander the Freak, whatever you want to call him, right? Alexander the Greek, right? And then later came through then the Romans came. The Greeks or the Romans are the same, Esau, Edom, right? And when the Romans came, they fell, right? The Greeks came back, Dark Ages, right? Then you have the Renaissance, where the Romans come back into play, and that's what we're in that revived Roman Empire now. Renaissance, the Italian word for Renaissance is it's like the Italian word for the Italian word for NATO is reborn. The Renaissance started in Italy, right? It says, if grape gatherers come to thee, will they not leave some gleaning grapes? Right? So when you gleaning, right, you take some, you'll leave some, right? It says, if thieves by night they will destroy if they have enough. Well, that's what Yahweh Shai is going to do. Yahweh Shai, he's going to come and destroy everything. Nothing's going to be left behind. Malachi chapter, Malachi 4:1, right? They're going to be destroyed. It ain't going to be nothing. America's going to be nothing left. And the ones left, we're going to tie them up, throw them into captivity, man. America's going to be done away with. Ain't going to be no more habitation here, right? And this is the point right here in verse 10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places. He shall not be able to hide himself. Know that places of America has been exposed. His seed is spoiled, his brother, his neighbor, and he is not. So Esau been made bare, right? They're gonna be done away with. All their gimmicks, their games, all their tricks is being brought to light. All their gimmicks and games being brought to, being brought to light, like better words. Thank God that's how they entice you. It's been exposed, right? And within that being exposed, we're seeing the things, and we're turning the time to seeing how things are unfolding and knowing we're getting closer and closer to the time to have Bashing Shot, right? But before I get back to the subject of the lesson, I say I to say of how the Germans are smart things and such, right? Esau, they're smart, it's right things and such. The Most High is using them, right, to create all these things. Why the Most High said, Most High take the wise and their own craftiness. Hold up, let me go there real fast. Job chapter 5 and 12, right? He says, he disappointed the devices of the crafty, but the hands cannot perform their enterprise, right? And, that enterprise is going back when Christopher Columbus came over here, right? They need an enterprise. They need a place to establish it. They need a place to get it started. That's why they came over to the Americas, right? And you see from here, they be going all over. America got everybody trying to follow the way, everybody drunk off the fornication, Babylon versus America, right? They trying to get everybody to follow their way. And it's backfiring on the nations. Jeremiah 51:6. The nations are mad. America's poisoning everybody. America is that leadership in NATO, that beast. America's in the top seat of the Roman Empire. As Apostle Tahar always say, America get the cold, everybody else get the flu, man. Right? It says, this is the point right here in verse 13. It says, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. Right? So all these things they're building, these bombs, right? Because Esau's a man of war. The scripture said Esau's a man of war. Esau like to go to war. Esau like to fight. Well, the Most High, who's just his will? The Most High set them to be that way. Because all these things they building, these bombs, these jets that can go fly over here and drop bombs, all these things they're building is going to all lead up to prophecy of what World War III, a time bomb, that this place being destroyed. In other parts of the world, Israel been destroyed, right? And then we're going to rebuild Israel back up to the kingdom of Yahweh. But all is going to lead up to the prophecy of Yahweh, right? And this place being destroyed, this place being done away with, right? And the Most High is using them to get that done, right? I go to it. I was gonna go to I go to Samuel real fast. Once is that First Samuel? Just showing you an example of how the Most High uses these left hand spirits to get things done. First, I'm gonna show you 1 Samuel 10:6. It says, "And the spirit of the Lord Yahweh shall come upon thee, and thou shalt prophesy with them, and shall be turned to another man." Right? So you have left hand spirits and right hand spirits. When the Most High put that spirit in you, right, to do He said for you to do, right, it's gonna get done. Right? Whom's it His will. Right? That's why you got 2/3 of Jake. The Most High don't allow them to understand. You got a left hand spirit dealing with him. That's why you have Jake who will go kill another Jake. That's the Most High execute His vengeance on that Jake, which eventually will lead to vengeance being brought on that Jake to another. No, that's how the Most High works. You got to understand the Most High. See, His word don't know Yahweh Shah. They think He all good, happy, holly jolly. No, right? Isaiah 45:4, right? It's precepts to show you, right? I make a lie, right? Is it evil in the city of the Lord is not done? It was the Amos, right? They don't understand the Most High, right? But you have the left hand spirits, right? And you have the right hand spirits, right? And the Most High channeling them through us. It's how the spirit of Yahweh Shah is channeling through the elect to teach and prophesy the word of Yahweh Shah, right? To do the righteous works of Yahweh Shah, right? So from there, I'm gonna show you an example of. Let's see, I don't know if it's First Kings. I think it's First Kings 19. Right, it's First Kings 22 and verse 19. Right, it's an example of how the Most High used those left hand spirits, right, to channel them through Esau, Edom, other people to get it done. And we're gonna also go to that in Job 33 as well. Right, it says First Kings 22, starting at verse 19. It says, and he said, hear thou therefore the word of the Lord, Yahweh. Yahweh. I saw the Lord Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven, the hosts are the angels, right, or spirits, right? All the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right hand and his left hand side. So you have the right hand, right? You have the left hand side. The right hand is the righteous spirit. The left hand is the evil spirits Most High used to get the evil works done, right? Because you would use a robber to go rob somebody. You would use a killer to go kill somebody. What do you think the Most High doing, right? What do you think Esau Edom is? Robber, thief, killer. How do you think they got this place, right? Riches got by the sea, right? That's why this place is going to be translated from one people to another. That's why we're going to be brought. That's why the kingdom, this place is going to be destroyed, and Israel is going to be destroyed. We're going to build it back up to a kingdom of righteousness, right? But it says, and the Lord said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramaghled? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner, right? And there came forth a spirit and stood before him and said, I will persuade him, right? So a spirit came up before him and said, I will persuade him, right? What he said. And the Lord Yahweh said unto him, wherewith he said, I will go forth and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him and prevail also, go forth and do so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord has put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and the Lord has spoken evil concerning thee. See, this is the part that the world can't accept. These 2/3 can't accept, right? Well, the world ain't gonna accept anyway, but it's the part of the 2/3 they can't accept, man. That the Most High he do evil and he do good, right? They can't accept that, right? But you got to understand, Jake don't understand the fact that the Most High gave us he gave us the tools, he gave us the platform, he gave us the ingredients to overcome. He gave us the ingredients to get through, right? This destruction, this judgment that's coming, right? And that begins with the fear. Fear is the beginning of knowledge and wisdom, right? When you understand, when you understand his fears, you understand his judgment, you understand his power. Like I mentioned before, I did a lesson on this a long time ago. It was titled Respectful Fear. The only definition of respectful fear talked about how you understand his power. You understand the power behind Bashing Al Shah. It's a fearful thing, excuse me. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of living power, man. It's a fearful thing, man. You don't want to be on this bad side. But Jake feared Esau, Jake feared all these things, right? But the elect, and it's crazy because when you in the know, you have the spirit, the elect understand that these atomic bombs, these rumors of war, these are all the things that were set for Yahweh. These are the things that were set through prophecy, right? These are the things that were set, the spirit came upon the prophets, the sensitive and the apostles, right? To prophesy and teach these things, right? That's why the scripture said, right? The day of the Lord is a thief of the night, right? But it's not come upon you as a thief. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. It's not come upon you as a thief, because you're not children of the night, you're children of the day, right? So we're children of the light, so we should be able to see these things. But what? Jake walk on in darkness, because why they fall out to Esau, Edom. So therefore, these things that's going around them, they've been deceived, they've been tricked, which is eventually going to lead to a sore destruction. Micah 2 and 10. Right? Depart from this not your rest, really paraphrasing. It will lead you to a sore destruction. Because Jake won't comfort, Jake won't peace, Jake want to feel secure. Right? But you're never going to feel that here because it's not your homeland. Nothing here is for you. Nothing here is good for you at all. All around this place is wickedness. It's wickedness in everywhere, in every corner. Right? But the Most High gave us the tools to cleanse ourselves. His word cleanses us. Right? That's why the Most High Spirit can't do a punch right now, because we're filthy, we're dirty, right? We're corruption. But once again, onto that second covenant, right? We're going to be changed. We're going to be changed into spiritual bodies. We're going to be changed into, we're going to be made pure. Laws of Christ are written in our hearts and minds, right? But so really getting back to the subject, right? How shall we escape? Going into, as I mentioned before, right? How you have a lot of judgment, right? You have a lot of judgment going out, or you have a lot of judgment that's going to go out. You have World War III. You have atomic bombs hitting most of the scriptures, right? Isaiah 9 and 5, right? It talks about how, in these scriptures that Elder Pastor Romulus bring out his lesson as well, right? We're gonna read Second Peter chapter 3, right? We're gonna read that, but it talks about how the earth is gonna melt with favorite heat, how Bashin Yahushua is coming with that fire and that destruction, right? Uh, let's read a few. One of my favorites right here. Let me see. Isaiah 66:15 says, "For behold, the Lord Yahweh will come with fire, and his chariots like a whirlwind, to run his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire." Right? So you got to understand, right? He come with that fire, those chariots, right? Those bombs going off, right? The time bombs dropping, right? The scripture, let me go to that scripture to talk about. Is it Isaiah 95? Bear with me. No, that was actually Little Pastor Rumlock quoted it, right? Zechariah 14:12, right? I should read, right? It says, "And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet." How does that happen? Right? How does that happen? Right? Why? Those time bombs. You remember, what was that, World War II? Shalom, brother, shalom. But World War II, right, with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right, when the bombs dropped off. I remember I was in school, I was in 5th grade when we learned about this. And it's craziest thing is as I grow in this truth, right, and I remember how the little bits and pieces, how Esau trying to put out to try to, make things align, make you smart within their knowledge, because the wisdom of the world is foolish to Yahweh Shah, right? When you understand it, right, these signs and these wonders and these things that Yahweh Shah been showed us, right? We've been seeing it, right? How and when they dropped the bomb on Japan, how people the radiation was leaving people's shadows. People was melting as soon as it hit. People's skin was burning off of them, right? What does it says right here, right? Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. What does that mean? It's showing you a glimpse to the future, what's to come, right? Atomic bombs going off, World War III, destruction, judgment from Yahweh Shah for those ones who came against Jerusalem, and also for those 2/3, right? Those 2/3 as well who fall out the ways of these nations, who fall out the ways of these people, right? Once again, Micah 2:10, right? Depart, if it's not your rest, it shall lead you to a sore destruction, merely paraphrased, because there's going to be a judgment. As we read earlier, Revelation 22:12, Galatians 6, Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, Galatians chapter 6, verse 7 to 8, right? A man reap what he sowed. So the works that you're doing, the things that you're doing, is going to lead to your judgment. So therefore, you're either going to repent and get right, and return back to Yahweh Shah, or you're going to be caught up in this judgment, man. Right? You're going to be caught up in that lake of fire, which is not hell. That lake of fire is what? When, as we just read Isaiah 66:15, when the Most High bring the destruction here on earth, right here to America, right? Other parts of the world, and Israel going to be destroyed as well. Once again, we're going to rebuild Israel back up to the kingdom of Yahweh Shah. But the title of the lesson is, how shall we escape? Right? How shall we escape? Right? I'm going to finish this precept real fast. It says, their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth, man. Right? So it's going to be this ain't nothing to play with. Right? This ain't nothing to play with. The Most High established this long ago when the prophets prophesied these things. But as the Elder Apostle Romulus was talking about in the lesson, otherwise he's going to, it was a lot less he did yesterday, right? How back then they couldn't explain it into the terminology of today, right? Well, that's why, he also brought out Daniel 12:4, how knowledge is increased. When you understand, that's how those Isaiah 54:16, right? The blacksmith created that waste. That waste is what? The time bomb, those missiles, right? And the modern day blacksmiths are what? Those scientists, where they be able to create these bombs, these vehicles where they can go cause destructions all over. The Most High allowed that. The Most High put that in place, right? Daniel 4:17. The Most High ruleth in matter of fact, let me grab that real fast. Just real fast. Just don't want to quote it wrong. Daniel 4:17. This matter is by decree of the watchers and demand of the word by the holy ones, right? The holy ones is elect, right? To the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. He set up over the basis of men. So the Most High allowed Edom them to come in. The power that they have, the Most High put them in that position, right? He put them in that position, right? The things that they're creating, even going back to the enterprise, we just read Job 5, right? We just read Job 5, how the Most High is going to take the crafty in their own craftiness, man. All the things they building, all this digital thing, all these bond things, these are the same things the Most High is going to use to destroy them. And the 2/3 as well, they don't repent, right? So with all this destruction coming, right? I'm gonna quick precept I had quoted them right real fast, and I'm gonna go to 2 Peter, right? Let's see, I had quoted. This just came back to me in the spirit. Job 33, and I started verse 13. It says, "Why dost thou strive against him? For he giveth not account of any of his matters," right? Because you can't go against him. What he said is ordained and it's going to happen. You can't change it, right? It says, "For Yahweh speaketh once, yet twice, yet man perceiveth not. In a dream and a vision of night, when deep sleep falls upon man and slumbers upon bed, then he opened the ears of men and sealed their instructions," right? So all these things that they're doing, these things that they're setting, right? These bonds that they're building, the Most High put the Spirit on them, which is read 2 Kings 22:19, how he sent the lion spirit in the mouth of all that king prophets. Well, he sent those left-hand spirits into Esau. He don't create these bonds, create these wastes, create all these things, right? It says that he might withdraw man from his purpose and his pride from men, right? So he set them to do his purpose, whom is his will. Everything that they're building is what is he put them in a position to fulfill the roles in the movie that he has written out. So Esau Edom is creating these bonds, creating these things, right? You got Most High put the mindset of the spirit into Trump to go over here and be vicious, argue with these people, which lead to wars, lead these things, right? Because all prophecy was going to eventually lead up to the end of this place, man. Lead up to destruction, right? And looking at the 2/3, you seen all these things happen. How shall we escape? Because his judgment is going to come, right? There's going to be a destruction that's going to hit, right? Throughout it, brother. It's the Ecclesiastes 7:13 says, "Consider the work of Yahweh, who can make that straight, which he made crooked." You can't change what Yahweh said. Everything's already ordained. Everything's already set, right? You know, even those 2/3 who going off, right? You was already set to be destroyed. Man crept down the wares, right? Everything's already set for that to go down, right? And once the Most High put it, that's what it is. He ain't changing his mind, right? Who can make it? Let's read that again. What it says, right? It says, "Consider the work of Yahweh, who can make that straight, which he made crooked." Man, how can you make it straight when he made it that way? How can the clay say something to the potter? Really paraphrasing, right? Isaiah was at 29, right? Also in Romans as well talks about that, right? Come on, the Most High controls this. So what he said, that's what it is, what it's going to be, right? But the rhythm read 33 and 16 again says, "Then he opened the ears of men and sealed their instructions." So the Most High put the instructions in their mind to get these things done. He sealed the instructions in them. Hey, y'all gonna build this bond. Hey, y'all gonna do this. Hey, y'all gonna do that. Put the mindset in Trump. Hey, you gonna go over here and argue these people today, right? You gonna go over here and do this, right? And it all gonna lead up to what? That destruction, right? Just as well as the lesson that Apostle Ramla went into, right? How the Oppenheimer how he created that bomb. See, he was hurt. He was hurt when he created that bomb, right? Throughout. That's a great precept. Throughout. It says Isaiah 46:10. He said, declaring the end from the beginning. Because when you understand it, Jacob and Esau was the beginning of the end. When Jacob and Esau was born, that was the beginning of the end, right? It says, declaring the end from the beginning and from the ancient time, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Right? It goes all the way back to Jacob and Esau. Jacob and Esau, when they was born, that was the beginning of the end, right? And you have prophecy that's going to be fulfilled. That's why the scriptures say we should overcome by the word of the Lamb. Let's bring it out real fast. Well, that's a great precept. Revelations 12:11 says they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They loved not allowed to death. What is that word of the testimony? The spirit of prophecy. So we're able to, through the spirit, shall we able to discern the signs, discern the times through the prophecy. We're able to see the things that's coming to pass, see the things that's happening, right? We're able to understand the prophecy, right? Through the prophecy, we're able to understand it because the scriptures say what, right? Where there's no vision, people perish. So we're able to have the vision. Most High, through the scriptures, right, we get a glimpse to the future, what's going down, what's going to come. So when these things come, when these things happen, right, we're able to prepare ourselves. That's how we're able to prepare ourselves. That's how we're able to stay on that watchtower. That's how we're able to stay focused, You ever been hunting on that watchtower? You gotta be quiet, you gotta be sober, you gotta be vigilant. You gotta be watching, right? You gotta stay focused, steadfast. You can't be out there lying, gagging, playing around. You can't be out there josing off. Because if you do, boom. Remember, this is narrow passage. This thing's on the right, things on the left. One slip, you fall. One slip, you miss the shot, right? So with that, we got to stay focused, right? And through that spirit of prophecy, we're able to see these things. We're able to discern the times. We're able to see the things around us and to see when the things are going on, see the things that are happening, right? And as the precept the brother brought out, right, declaring the end from the beginning, right, and from the ancient times, the things that are not yet done, right, and that's prophecy, because prophecy is going to come to pass. Isaiah 34 and 16, right? These things shall come to pass. All the prophecy is going to be fulfilled, right? He said the things that are not yet done, saying my counsel shall stand, I will do all my pleasure, right? And that also goes into Ezekiel. I want to say, I brought it out in a lot of lessons I did last time. I think I remember, I want to say Ezekiel's. Was that Ezekiel chapter, I think that's 12. Yeah, Ezekiel 12, right? Because it goes into, it says how Israel, right? These visions take so long to them. They think the visions take long. Oh, this ain't gonna happen. Oh, y'all been saying it's gonna happen. Oh, y'all been saying this about that. Y'all been saying this. Well, the days of hand affected every vision, right? So now when these things popping off, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken, the brothers are going to go into live in this, or they might went into it, right? Now Jacob started to believe the prophecy. Now Jacob started waking up to the prophecy. Now Jacob starting to see it. Now Jacob like, hold up, man, wait. Hold up, let me tap in, let me tune in. But now once the master has risen and the door is shut, right? And you get to stand without trying to knock, right? And he said, get from him. I know it's not who you are. Merely paraphrasing that Luke chapter 13, 25, right? So it was time. This ain't nothing new. There's no cloak for your sin. That's why the Most High set up these watchmen, right? And it says to give warning. What do you give a warning for? For when something, when the siren go off, when it's finna be a flood or a tornado or things that such, they give you warning till you prepare yourself. Well, that's what the prophet, the sister man, is true. We're the news channel for you. We tell you, hey, this happened here. Hey, you better be prepared because this was gonna come, right? And we're not speaking of men's knowledge. We're speaking of the knowledge of Yahweh. These are the visions. These are the things that the Spirit reveals unto us beginning with the prophets, right? Beginning with the prophets teach, then the teachers teach, right? And then that governing body on down understand it, and that's the elect, that 144,000. They understand it and be able to prepare ourselves, right? That's why once again those watchmen, they're giving warning, right? And going back to the subject at hand, how should we escape when all these things have come, right? I'm gonna read that Isaiah 34 and 16 real fast, right? It says, seek ye out the book of the Lord, Yahweh, and read. None of these shall fail. Meaning what? Seek out the book of the Lord and read, because none of these prophecies shall fail, right? The Bible, right? Bible, right? When I was watching Lester, Elder Pastor Ramline, he had an elder, but I forgot the elder name, but he did an acronym for the Bible, basic instruction before leaving earth, right? Seek ye out the book of the Lord and read, because this is our tools, our preparation. As you finna go for a test, you're gonna study. You're gonna study in that book. You're gonna study your notes. Whatever. This is our test. We got a test coming, so we're studying. We're preparing ourselves, right? It says, "None shall want her mate, for my mouth it hath commanded, and His Spirit hath gathered them." Right. So I'll go to 2 Peter, right? 2 Peter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 10, right? It says. All right, so this is 2 Peter 3, I'm starting at verse 10, says, but the day of the Lord, matter of fact, I'm reading NLT. Well, I'm going to see what it said in NLT first, and I'll read it in the KJV first, and I'll read it in NLT. I'm going to pull it up real fast. All right, it's 2 Peter 3, verse 10, KJV first, right? It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. With that great noise? Those bombs, those war, right? Those bombs going off, those missiles hitting, right? That destruction, right? It says, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. So we talk about, right? And remember, once again, in 5th grade, so I used to be fascinated with history, History is one of my favorite subjects, right? And he was talking about how when they dropped the bomb, you had people standing, and their shadows was still in the same spot they were standing there because the heat came so fast, the radiation came so fast, that favorable heat came hot, right? Melted their skin right off on them right where they standing at, right? So this is going to come to pass. This is going to happen, right? And this time it's going to happen to America. See, America ain't never really faced uh, America ain't faced too much devastation on their homeland for it. So America think, oh, what the scripture say, well, I sit a queen, right? America is that prideful, right? Well, we know pride comes before a fall. And that's why Jake's so in love with it. That's why Jake feel like he's so secured in it, right? Well, just watch, man, right? You know, the Most High gonna laugh at you, right? When that calamity hit, all that trust and all that trust and that fear you put in Esau, you know, right? You're gonna see. That's why the Most High said. That's why the Most High said, Esau the way he said him at, right? This is what he told Pharaoh. I put you in that position so I can exalt my power on you. Well, he put Esau in that position so he can exalt his power on him, so you can show him, right? So he can show you, so he can show not only him, the nations, and also the 2/3, right? Throughout the brother for the priesthood, this Revelation 1:7. Behold, he comes with the clouds, those clouds are chariots, right? And every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. Con, you gotta understand. Jake, the one who gave you house shot up, man. Right? Jake, the one who gave you house shot up. Told her, y'all want to free this man, a man who was rightfully in prison, or free house shot? Oh no, free the other man, keep house shot, pierce him. Jake always hating, right? Jake always despised the house shot. And those same one is going to be destroyed. He come back. He come with that judgment, right? As you read, he come with reward, salvation for the elect, and judgment for the nations, and also those 2/3, right? That's why I titled the lesson is "How Shall We Escape?" See, the elect is how shall we escape? Because why? They took heed to to the word of Yahweh Shah. They ain't play around with it. They focus within it. They stand fast within it. They understood that for every work it comes a judgment behind it. See, Jake out here living that free will, living in that mindset of the European lifestyle. That you can do whatever you want, go to church, do all this and that. Nah, right? This ain't that. See, Jake confused, Jake lost. We went in that last lesson, right? It's staggering out from strong drink, from these doctrines, from the way these other words. They confused that the wine of Babylon, they lost, they're unstable, right? So the Genesis always says, the elements shall melt with fervent heat, the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. And this ain't talking about no hell you're gonna burn for eternity. It's talking about how about the precept brother brought out, right? He's gonna bring destruction here, and every eye shall see. He's gonna be destruction right here, right? Well, verse 11, it's like, excuse me, it says, seeing then, and this is the precept I wanted to bring out in the NLT. I'm gonna read it in the KJV first, then I'll bring out in the NLT, right? It says, seeing then that all things shall be dissolved, right? What manner of persons ought you to be in all holy conversation and godliness? So seeing all these things going to come to pass, seeing all these things going to come, right? The destruction, this judgment. What manner of person should you be? How should you escape? How should you get through this, right? It says, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of Yahweh, wherein the heavens shall be on fire, shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, man. Right? So I'm gonna read I'm going to go to verse 10, I'm reading the NLT. Right? It says, but the day of the Lord will come as unexpectedly as a thief. Then the heavens will pass away with terrible noise, and the very elements themselves will disappear in the fire, and the earth and everything on it will be found to deserve judgment. Deserve judgment. I don't think people, I think you have these people who so bugged out, they think they live in the Holly Jolly life, they think they deserve everything. That's that pride. They think they live in the Holly Jolly life. I don't think anything bad gonna happen to America as well. I see the queen, I still see no sorrow, right? This says, since everything around us is going to be destroyed like this, being burnt up and destroyed, World War III, right? It ain't gonna be no how it is back in the day where you have bloody clothes, stabbing and stuff like that. Now it's gonna be bombs dropping, atomic bomb, nuclear war, right? Missiles, destruction, right? Bad destruction. You have shot in the chariots, beaming people, rays, those beaming rays, beaming people, right? Just everything around us is going to be destroyed like this. What holy and godly lives should you live, right? It says, looking forward to the day of Yahweh and hurrying it along, right? Because we're hurrying it along, we ready to get out of this place. The elect is ready to get out of this place, right? Because we understand how bad this place is for us. We understand us being down here separates us from being with Yahawashi Yahushua. That's all. Us being down here, we're going through the torment. We accept it. We're going through the torment. We're going through the pain. We're going through the suffering, and we endure it because we know eventually when the time comes, we're going to be with the Heavenly Father, Yahawashi Yahushua, in our kingdom, the kingdom of righteousness, which I'm reading verse 13. But right now, we're going through that. We're going through that correction, going through that mercy period, right? To correct ourselves, describe in the spirit, right? It says, looking forward to the day of Yahweh and hurrying along. On that day, he will set the heavens on fire, and the elements will melt away in the flames. But we are looking forward to the new heavens, that was the kingdom of Yahushua, and a new earth he has promised, a world filled with righteousness. It's like a world filled with Yahweh's righteousness, right? That's the kingdom. That's the kingdom of Yahushua, right? So with all these things gonna come to pass, this destruction, prophecy being fulfilled, right? World War III, right? Yahushua bring that because Yahushua ain't coming with he ain't coming with no peace, right? This is Matthew's. He come with that sword. You know, Esau was already that sword, right? But what do you tell Esau, right? You know, by the sword you shall live, right? So that same sword, Most High is going to use that to destroy Esau, that destruction. Right? He's going to bring that right back to Esau because you understand it. Yahushua, Isaac, same spirit. So the same one who came with that sword, don't take it from him. Even though that Esau is the Most High sword right now, right? But in due time, Yahushua, he's going to come and you live by the sword, you die by it, right? He's going to come, he's going to bring destruction on them, right? So this is Matthew 10, right, in verse 34. It says, think not that I come to send peace on earth. I come not to send peace, but a sword. He's going to bring destruction, right? He's going to bring destruction on Esau, Edom. He's going to bring destruction on the 2/3, right? So with that being said, right, with all this happening, Most High, Yahushua shall bring destruction upon this place, right? And us being here, how shall we escape? How shall we escape? How shall we get through this, right? So let's go to Hebrews. Go back to the subject again. Hebrews, right? There's 2. I'm gonna start at verse 1, and I'm gonna read this in NLT as well, right? And I'm gonna go to I want to say that's First Peter. We'll go to it this time, but right, it says Hebrews 2:1. It says, therefore we ought to give more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip, right? Because the things that Yahushua preaching to us, we need to, you know, we need to pay attention to it. This is SIGH word, not the one they try to change it. These other doctors, the apostates, try to turn it another way, overthrow the faith of some. The 100% truth. We need to pay earnest. We take earnest heed into it. We need to pay attention to it fully, right? It says, for if the word spoken by angels was steadfast, and every transgression, right, is transgression is sin, right? Transgression of the law is sin, right? And every transgression and disobedience receives a just recompense of reward, right? A judgment. Every time you break a law, every time you go against Yahushua, it's going to be judgment, right? How shall we escape? How shall we escape? If we neglect so great salvation, if you don't take heed to his word, if you despise his word, if you go against the truth, how shall we escape such great salvation? Right? It says, once again, verse 3 again says, how shall we escape if we neglect so great salvation? Which at first began to be spoken by the Lord, right? Because Yahushua brought that 100% truth unto us. And he left it unto us. Why he left the Holy Spirit, or Kakadash, the Spirit Holy Spirit, right? He left that comfort because he was that comfort while he was here, but he left that comfort for us. So now we have this truth, but if we neglect this truth, how shall we escape? How shall we get through this judgment? Because the only way you're going to get through is what? Through this word, through this truth. This word is what cleanses us. Only you're going to get through is through having knowledge and understanding how about Yahushua, the spirit of how about Yahushua, right? It says, which first began spoken by the Lord and was confirmed to us by them that heard him, right? Those righteous, right? The confirmation was Moses, right? We spoke about these things on the mount, right? You know, when the mount of the chariot, right? When the Most High showed Moses all the things, right? Gave him laws, commandments, showed him all the things. He spoke these things to Israel, right? And you know, and of course, you know, as time goes on, you have some who try to overthrow the faith. You have the apostates. You have these false prophets, right? But the truth is out here. There's no cloak for your sin. The 100% truth is here. It's a matter of you of the elect to be able to receive it. So that's another thing that the apostles are harping on a lot. You gotta understand. You know, we preach this truth. We gotta understand. We're preaching this truth unto the elect. Those 144,000, because everybody ain't gonna get it. Everybody ain't gonna be able to escape. did a lesson on this a while back, right? Well, like a few weeks ago, right? It's a secret to get into the kingdom of heaven. That's why Yahweh Shai, when he was here, he spoke in parables, dark sayings, right? In order to understand those dark sayings, you had to shine light on them. We, the elect, are those children of the light, to be able to understand these dark sayings, right? So I got another quick precept. Let me see. Bear with me. All right, go ahead. 1 Peter 1:9, right? 1 Peter 1:9, right? And it reads, it says, receiving the end of your faith, even salvation of your soul, because the way we're going to receive salvation for our souls is keeping faith. Keeping faith in his word, keep faith in his truth, right? Keep faith in Yahweh Shai, right? And keeping that faith to the end, keeping our patience, we know patience work is faith. Keeping our patience to the end, we're going to be delivered, right? It says, of which salvation the prophets have inquired and searched diligently, who prophesied of the grace that should come unto you, right? You know, so they prophesied Yahweh Shai come onto the scene, right? They understood that Yahweh Shai had to come on the scene for the destruction coming, right? You know, you had John, right? What John said, they thought John was the one. Well, he said that there's one who come after me who was greater than me, right? You know, and which was preferred before me, right? But you gotta understand, you know, you had the prophet, you had the sister, you had the apostles, right? You had the prophet who was prophesying that, you know, there's going to be a salvation coming. And that was Yahweh Shai. When Yahweh Shai came on the scene, right, they understood it, right? They understood it, right? And that's why you had those ones who followed him, right? And once he brought that salvation is word is truth, right? You have ones who taught it, right? Who taught it 100% truth, who stood by it, like Paul, for instance. Where Paul said, I do everything for the elect's sake, because he took everything he had to do to get the word out to the elect. People wanted to kill Paul. People came against Paul, right? But Paul what? Right? And Philippians, chapter 1, he talks about it, right? The things that I'm going through, the men who believe in this truth, right? They see it, and it's making them being more bold and you know, being more confident in this truth. Because they seeing these things that we're going to face with being in this truth. Because the truth hurts. People hate the truth, right? It says, searching what manner of time the spirit of Mashiach, Yahushua, which was in them, did sanctify when they testified beforehand the sufferings of Mashiach, Yahushua, and the glory that should follow, right? Because it's going to be glory, but you're going to go through hardship, but it's going to be glory. And that glory is the kingdom of Yahushua, right? So I got this pulled up in the NLT as well, and I read it, right? 1 Peter 1:9. He said, the reward for trusting him, keeping that faith, will be the salvation of your souls. This salvation was something even the prophets wanted to know more about when they prophesied about the gracious salvation prepared for you, right? You know, you go to Acts, right? Acts, what? You know, the prophet was, disciples, they was asking Yahweh Shai, like, hey, you know, when the kingdom gonna be restored? They want to know these things. They knew it was coming, right? They know once Yahweh Shai came onto the scene and, you know, prophesied and taught to them, right? So now they knowing that it's going to be a salvation coming, right? It's going to be glory. It's going to be glory coming, right? You know, but they also understood what? They also understood there's going to be destruction coming as well, right? Because the Most High showed them visions, or they prophets to prophesy, right? The Most High showed them visions, so they also knew there was going to be destruction, all these things coming, right? It says they wondered what time or situation the spirit of Mashiach within them was talking about when he told them in advance about Mashiach's suffering and his great glory afterward, right? The suffering, the pain, the hardship, right? The things we're going through, right? Even you gotta think. When the destruction comes, you gotta think. You got Jacob's trouble, right? You got Jacob's trouble gonna come. People gonna be getting thrown in camps, right? People gonna be getting thrown in camps. People they got guillotines set up. That's why I mentioned earlier. And I go through real fast. You know, the sword is already prepared, and you know Esau is the Most High sword, but Most High don't allow Esau to come through on one. But who's at his will? That same thing they doing, right? It's gonna be judged brought into them, right? But at the same time, I understand he gonna let them be on. They gonna be on one, right? It's like that. Ezekiel, I want to say it's 21. Right here, Ezekiel 21, verse 9, right? It says, Son of man, prophesy and say this, that the Lord Yahweh, say a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Shall we then make mirth? It cometh timid, the rod of my son at every tree, right? So you got to understand that, you know, the Most High finna bring that pain. We just read that Matthew 10:34. Yahweh Shai finna bring that pain. He ain't come to bring peace, he come with a sword, right? We just gotta understand that Esau is the Most High sword, and it's already ready. Esau getting set up. They got those camps and all that. Jacob trouble is come. Jacob trouble is down in here, right? So these are things that the Most High showed the prophets, showed them these things, right? So now the prophets, they search the diligently of the signs of these things to come. That's why we have the Spirit, the crocodiles, the comfort, to reveal these things unto us, right? So now when we see the times, when we see that these things happen, we understand how we get closer and closer, right? We get nearer and nearer. And that's how we escape, through keeping that faith when these things come in. Hey, you gonna take this chip or you gonna get thrown in that count? I guess you gotta throw me in the count, right? Take that chip or you gonna go in that guillotine, get your head cut off. Hey, Paul gotta be head, right? These things that we gotta face, that suffering, right? That's how we escape, keeping that faith, right? Enduring to the end, right? It says, Esau who the sword of the Lord. It's already sharpened, right? Esau got the tension center set up and everything. The time of martial law hit hard in America, they're gonna bring that pain, man. That draconian law, right? As you seen, remember when they was protesting, right? They was trying to push it in, but hey, most I said, hey, that's just a glimpse of what's to come. When Trump was getting it, he sent the military out. That's just a glimpse. Next time they're gonna come out slaughtering. They're gonna come out on one, right? It says that he had given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. The sword is sharpened, and it is furbished, and it given to the hand of the slayer, right? Once again, Esau is the Most High sword right now, but when Yahushua come, Yahushua's gonna bring the destruction of those 2/3 and the nations, right? And the elect is gonna escape by keeping that faith, keeping their patience, doing the will of the works of Yahushua. Take your heed into this word, earnest heed into this word, not playing around with it, being sincere with the vow make to Yahushua, man, right? Keeping that faith to the end, right? So that's how we gonna escape, man. Keeping that faith, doing the works of Yahushua, never folding, man, right? Stand strong to the end, right? So, no, Lord willing, right? Hope the lesson was edifying and exalting, right? And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Bakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the whole elect, strong with 144,000. Shalom.